So my name is Remy. I'm the co-founder of Bloom Biorenewables, and at Bloom we turn plants into petroleum. And now the reason why we do this is because we want to bring more circularity into carbon. And thank you, Reto, for making the introduction speech, because I'm going to try and summarize it in my 5 minutes that I have. And this is basically what we did during the 20th century, is we found a kind of unlimited, at the time, source of energy and of material. And we were super happy to find this, and we just poured it into the world, and basically the world we see around us is more or less the transformation of that petroleum. So every seat you sit on, every clothes you have, the shoes, the way you came here, everything is because we had this source. Now, what these people didn't know is that it has an effect on our environment, and that today, or at some point for them, there would be 100 million barrels going into the atmosphere every single day. And this is the numbers that were shown today. They were here and happy. We are here and wondering what's going to happen. And here, there are no humans anymore. And we need to act now and find a way of curbing this, because otherwise we're going to end up into the wall. And now the problem is really that petroleum is in every single piece of our human activity. And it's a one-way street. So we take the petroleum out of the ground and we put it in all the things that we know as the modern life. If you want to, find one word that describes what petroleum brought us to, is to this modern life. And now the problem is nobody wants to give up, because you have everything, all these objects. It's great to fly around, it's great. So we need to find a way, how can we keep this and change this one-way street? And the way we envisage with Bloom is to include the natural habitats. So the question about the breathing of humans is very relevant here, because in the end, CO2 in the atmosphere is in balance with everything that is outside but the humans. And we could manage to integrate in there if we had systems that allow us to basically bridge our, I call it sustainable life, because at some point modern will be an old word that sounds kind of oldish 2000. And we need to use renewable carbon. And renewable carbon, it's easy, either you take it from the atmosphere or you take it from plants, and we focus on plants because they do the job through photosynthesis to kind of capture it and leave it on the ground, and we know how to grow plants and we know how to use them. So let me just give you a bit of what we do differently and why we believe to have a solution. So sorry for the slide, I don't know why it's so transformed. Biomass is basically cellulose that is glued together by a so-called lignin polymer. Today, you have basically a lot of applications for cellulose. Some of you sit on some cellulose, but the lignin, which is 20% to 25% of wood, is completely destroyed. And this is due to the design of the process. And we had to develop the analytical techniques to understand what is happening to lignin. And now that we understand, we can redesign things, and that's exactly what we did at Bloom. And we can today basically get more value or more molecules out of wood than what was possible before Bloom existed. And what we do with them can be shown a bit by this analogy to an egg. An egg also has 3 components. If you break them with your hand, you can do a number of things with them, like scrambled egg, that is also a product of modern life that we wouldn't want to live without. But if you could split basically the egg into different fractions while keeping the kind of native properties of it, you can go all the way to things that are much more expressions of modern life. And that's really what we do at Bloom with wood or any type of biomass. So here are an example. You start with wood, you get the different fractions of wood, and we are able basically to put them into a very large number of products for the chemical industry and all the way down to energy. Now the markets are ready. This was also mentioned by Reto. I think people realize now, and we talk to the chemical industry on a daily basis, and the change over the last few years has been impressive. Like, people are now ready to talk. They're still not ready to act, but this is going to come next year latest. At least you have some early movers that are really discussing agreements with numbers on them, and we have a plan to get to making money in the end. So it's like the petrochemical industry. I mean, today you have people harvesting wood and making paper and making money out of this. So it's possible, and we can show you, if you're interested, how we're going to drive this plan to 150 million revenue by 2030. Now, for this, we need to scale. We have already closed a seed round of 3.9 million euros. We have very strong impact investors on board, so it's probably the world's best kind of fund that supports us there, and they will help us to go all the way. We don't want to go alone, but we have very good people on board, and the next kind of opening is at the beginning of next year, so in a year from now, and I would be very happy to discuss, if you're interested, to fuel this mission and make an impact through our vision. With this, I would like to thank you, and everything comes down to the team in the end, and you will be impressed how young people want to basically use their chemical knowledge to make a difference, and this is a very good moment in time to make this change happen. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Remy. So what is your vision for the next 5 years? Tell us. Wait.
So we need to scale. That's really what we need to do, because impact comes only through scale. And scaling a digital app is very easy compared to scaling a biorefinery. So we will need all your help, and I would be happy to discuss more.
Yeah, I think we're all ready to act now. Thank you very much, Remy Buser.